This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Also being heard on translator K266CC Cheyenne at 1.
Right now on 1480 K-Ray, it's time for the Pro Show, featuring the only father and son sports talk show talking about the local sports scene as we take a look back and look ahead to upcoming events around our area. The Pro Show is on now, right here on 1480 K-Ray. Good morning. Larry Proietti along with Nick Proietti, and this is the Pro Show. We are going to go right away to the telephone, get a chance to talk to the founder of 7220sports.com, Cody Tucker, who's been on our program many times before. Last time we were talking with Cody, he got called away because of breaking news at the University of Wyoming. And Cody, I guess I'm going to open up the questioning here, and we go back. Last time we talked, what Jeff Linder went through this past season, you know, you don't wish that on your worst enemy. But also, too, then you start hearing the social media stuff and, you know, the water cooler talk about Jeff Linder this, Jeff Linder that. Tell us a little bit. You are close to Jeff Linder. Tell me the emotional stress that he went through this past season.
Oh boy! First of all, thanks for having me, guys. But yeah, I don't even know if I can describe that, Larry. To be honest with you, it's just been, like you said, you wouldn't wish that upon your worst enemy. It's been one thing after another with that, with this program, and you know, from what I'm hearing, you know, we can all point to Graham Ike and his right foot, and that's kind of what got the ball rolling on this whole nightmare. But from what I understand, when they got home from Greece, you know, on their summer trip, it just something was not clicking. And what I'm referring to is the three California guys. I'm hearing that, you know, you could tell pretty early on that, you know, you're going to have to stay on these dudes. You're going to have to stay on, you know, and he wanted to stay on this team in general. He didn't want anybody getting complacent after making it to the tournament last year, and everybody patted him on the back all off season. And you guys saw it. Even the national beat writers are saying, hey, Wyoming could be a dark horse here. I mean, I believe Andy Katz even said dark horse Final Four team. So everybody's patting him on the back, and it was Jeff Linder who kind of thought, you know, obviously I need to make sure these guys are showing up to the gym every day and putting in the work and doing what they need to do. And, you know, I guess there started being a few cracks in the facade, so to say, and then, you know, then a crack maybe in a right foot, and then it was just a nightmare from then on out. And yeah, last time I talked to you guys, of course, that's the day that the three California transfers left. I was hearing they were gone, and then, you know, it became a reality. And just guys don't leave in the middle of the season. So, I mean, that just pretty much sums up what a nightmare this was all the way around. And then, of course, culminating with the death of Jeff Linder's father, Bruce. And I know that was on his mind for a long, long time. So just tough, man, tough all the way around. And then obviously the transfer portal and what's been going on there. So just a brutal season for Wyoming basketball.
Yeah, I was going to say it gets even just more detrimental to Wyoming Cowboy basketball, where now, again, those at least incidents are happening again February, March now here as we're heading into April. Again, we already know this information, but again, more and more names out of Cowboy basketball enter this transfer portal. Again, most recently, a product that we've seen on the court here, again, in town with Nathaniel Talich, again, former Cheyenne Central product, again, entering that transfer portal. But, you know, again, Graham Ike, we go with Ducell, we go with Odin. Again, a lot of big names, a lot of big playmakers for the Cowboys entering that transfer portal. What's kind of the state of the program, so to speak, over there in Laramie, Wyoming right now? Is it just kind of a trash can on fire, or is this a way that for Coach Linder that he could salvage and turn this thing around hopefully next season?
You know, it's funny, Nick, that you mentioned that. I talked to a guy inside the program yesterday and kind of offered up the same question you just did, just like, how you guys doing, you know, kind of with kid gloves. This probably isn't ideal. And he just said, you know what, we're working our tails off. He said, we'll get it done. You know, they're very confident. And he said, you know, believe it or not, and I do believe it, this has actually got him pretty energized and excited. And he even said straight up, and I quote, needed a reboot. Maybe they did, you know. It just, these guys spent an awful lot of time together, and things did not go well this year. And by all accounts, Jeff Linder was a tough cookie this year, and he was a tough dude, and he didn't play around at all. And unfortunately, you just can't do that anymore. I wrote a column about it a couple weeks ago. The days of grabbing face masks are over, just like the days of loyalty are over. You want loyalty just like every 8-year-old girl wants a pony. It isn't going to happen anymore. The players have the power, and they don't have to put up with stuff. But I can see how they're re-energized a little bit and rebooted a little, needed a reboot. They got kicked in the teeth here in every way possible. And, you think about it, when Jeff Linder came in the heat of COVID in 2020, all he did was land the number 1 recruiting class in the Mountain West Conference over Zoom calls. And, he did that. It was pretty special. And Wyoming, as you guys know, Wyoming's basketball program was on life support at that point. You don't need a new coach if you have a healthy program 9 times out of 10 here. So I could see that. Now Jeff Linder's got 10, now 9 scholarships at his disposal after signing Kobe Newton out of Fullerton College yesterday, the first signee of the 2023-24 class. But it opens up a whole new world. And if you think about it, fellas, there's 1,000 players right now in the NCAA transfer portal, and there's only so many slots. I mean, this is a risky business here. And in talking to Kobe Newton yesterday, he said that. He said, man, I am so glad this process is over, for one, but for two, I'm a JUCO product. Talk about a group that got really, really screwed here with COVID and the extra year and stuff like that. I mean, they're scooting right past JUCO guys. So he was very fortunate, very excited. But I think they are excited. I think it's a total reboot. It's a clean slate. And here's a chance right now for Jeff Linder to prove it again, that he can turn this around and make hay.
And again, we'll talk plenty about JUCO, especially with, again, a lot of JUCO programs here in the state of Wyoming, including LCCC here in town. But, again, going back to the transfer portal, Cody, where, again, you mentioned, again, the amount of players entering and kind of testing the water, so to speak, where, again, nothing is a guarantee for a lot of these athletes to find that landing spot. For these transfer, at least portal athletes for the Wyoming Cowboys, again, whether it is EK, whether it is Odin, whether it is Noah Reynolds, just to name a few, if they don't find that perfect landing spot or, again, an ideal situation, could there be a possibility? Again, obviously this is up to also to Coach Linder if they would accept them back. But, again, could it be a possibility that these players don't find that landing spot and decide, hey, I actually like it a lot better in Laramie after, again, kind of testing the water, so to speak?
Yeah, the first part, yeah, it's a huge risk. The second part, I highly doubt it. I think all parties have moved on. I believe Jeff is looking forward. I know the source I spoke with yesterday said they're already they've broken it down to about 45 to 50 transfer portal guys they're looking at right now, and they're really breaking down and doing their due diligence. And that's a big thing too, if you think about it, Nick. I mean, after what happened with the Pac-12 transfers, and I'm not saying they didn't do their due diligence, but I have a feeling they're going to do a little more. I really do. I feel like they're going to make a few extra phone calls on everybody, and I wouldn't assume we're going to see any more package deals. But, I think the Cowboys lost some really good players, and it's amazing to me, guys, when I look at the fan base and they go, oh, these guys are leaving for a payday and NIL this and NIL that. Graham Ike might make some money, and he probably will. And he's going to end up in a really big program, and he's going to do big things, you would think. These other guys, man, they're going to land somewhere. Jeremiah Odin's very talented. He's going to land somewhere. Xavier Dussel can shoot. He'll land somewhere. I thought Noah Reynolds, he was a special player and somebody they could build around, and I really thought he became Wyoming's killer, for lack of a better term, this year. And barring the head injuries and stuff, I think he'll land somewhere decent. But the other ones, it's just a huge crapshoot, and good luck to you. And we do wish him good luck, but, man, it's tough. That's 1,000 people for, maybe 300 spots? And the high school game, they're still recruiting high school kids. They're still getting JUCO kids. So it's tough sledding. It's a huge, huge risk. But you know what? Obviously, they felt they should take it. And if if it were me, in my opinion, Graham Ike, we don't know how bad his foot injury is. This might be one of those deals where he's like, hey, this is something that could hamper me for a minute. So let's go play in the big stage. Let's play in Allen Fieldhouse. Let's play at Texas. Let's play at Gonzaga. Let's do that and see if I can, play in the NCAA tournament and make a run, just like he was quoted in 24/7 Sports. So we don't know exactly why all these guys left, but we know that we know it's a risk. We know it's a huge, huge risk, and we've seen it on the football side of things.
Cody, let's go with an opinionated question for you. And again, to the wise men, the apostles in Kansas City, with this transfer portal. You know, I mean, it was okay back in the day when you transferred and you had to sit out a year, because usually, and let's be real honest, most of the student athletes that get to play in NCAA hoops or football, you know, they get 5 for 4 years, so they get an extra year just in case. But has this transfer portal, in your opinion, just blown up, and now it's a train wreck, and Kansas City can't fix it?
Yeah. I mean, that's a big question, right, Larry? Can you put the toothpaste back in the tube? And I don't know if you can. I think like the NIL stuff started with really good intentions. Yeah, let these guys make some money, you know. And what I'm thinking of is, you know, go pitch for a car dealership and be on a billboard or something like that. Not pay for play. And also, you know, they're letting the one-time transfer, and then also when you graduate from whatever school you're at, you can transfer again and go somewhere else. And then in the case of McWilliams, who we obviously saw here at Wyoming in 2020 become the Mountain West Freshman of the Year, he goes right to Texas A&M and then gets some kind of waiver for whatever reason, and he's playing again at San Francisco the next year. So they need to figure something out, and it's amazing that they just let it turn into the Wild West like this. You know, the transfer thing, I don't think it should have been a big deal. I think what they had in mind, Larry, is like, if your coach leaves, then you should have, you know, an open door to move on as well. But that's not what's happening. And then last week, the NCAA came out and said, oh, by the way, if your coach leaves, that's not an excuse to leave. You still would have to sit out a year. So I miss the year. I don't know what was wrong with that in the first place. And it really made guys think twice, because it's a huge sacrifice if you're going to go sit out a year. We saw it with a guy like Leonard Washington and a guy like J.D. Luster, who's now on San Diego State's basketball staff. He moved from New Mexico State, and he had to sit out a year in Laramie. And I think it really makes you think harder about things and not have knee-jerk reactions. And we're talking about 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. So it's been brutal. It's been really brutal. And, you know, the grass greener on the other side. Everybody says that, but it's true. It's true. And, you know, best of luck to you. But a lot of guys don't move up. We've seen a lot of horizontal moves, and we've seen some moves down, and we've seen some guys who just flat out aren't even playing anymore. We're
talking with Cody Tucker, founder of 7220sports.com. Cody, here's Grandpa talking here right now. You know, I got here right at the tail end of Jim Brandenburg's run. Benny Dees comes in. Benny was left with a great senior program, and then, you know, all these guys graduated, and Benny was not afraid. And again, he brought in two great staffers, Dick Lain, Ray Jones, and Ray was an unbelievable recruiter for the Cowboys. But Benny and his staff were not afraid to go to the JUCO route. Exit Benny, you bring in Larry Shyatt first season, Joby Wright, Steve McLean, you know, Heath-Roy. You just go right down the list. And all of a sudden, after, and again, I throw Benny out there because he was not afraid to go the JUCO route, but all of these other coaches came and said, hey, I want those 5 for 4 guys. Why has UW been, and again, I know we got a JUCO transfer now, but why has UW been anti-JUCO?
You know, that's a great question, and I don't know if they're so much anti-JUCO. I think back, you know, what you're looking at right now, Larry, is you're probably going to have to change your strategy when it comes to recruiting in general. I've seen some people throw out there that, hey, maybe you only go after transfer portal guys because, in theory, they're not going to be able to leave. And, you know, now can you actually get a kid out of high school and develop him and all that stuff? But, yeah, now, I mean, maybe maybe we're going to see more of an influx of that, is you're going to see guys who want to come in that are hungry and that are going to do what they have to do. And it's funny you brought up the Jim Brandenburg thing, Larry, because I was just talking to a fan about that. Imagine if the portal was open back then and all those dudes, Lechner and Dimbo and Dent, do you think they stick around for some guy named Benny Dees?
Probably not. No, because, again, you know, Benny came from a successful program at the University of New Orleans. I don't know, but, again, Brandenburg, next thing you know, he ends up in San Diego. I'm sure he might have had some trailblazers following behind him too.
Yeah, what if, imagine that, Finis Dimbo and Eric Lechner, San Diego State Aztecs. Can you imagine?
Yeah, but like I said, though, you go back to Benny was not afraid, and that's what I liked about him. And again, he had a couple of good cats that knew good talent as well too. But when they needed to pick that one or two JUCO player up, they put him in the lineup right away.
Yeah, I don't think you can be afraid. I mean, I know a lot of JUCO kids. I believe the narrative out there is that some of them just needed to get their grades up, and that's one of the main problems. But these guys are hungry. We've seen a few come through here that have been really nice. I don't know. They haven't. I don't know if there's some kind of stigma there, Larry, or they just want to try and build from the high school level and get those 4 and 5 year guys, but I don't know that you're going to have a lot more 4 and 5 year guys. I think what we saw right now with Hunter Maldonado and Hunter Thompson, that's, like Jeff Linder said, that's probably a dying breed, and that's probably something we're never going to see around here again, especially somebody of the caliber of Maldonado. He's probably not going to hang around for 5-6 years, and those guys aren't falling out of trees. So you're right. I think maybe this is going to be an avenue where some things are going to open up for those guys.
Cody, you mentioned again with Hunter Thompson, and also too, I tossed out the name Nathaniel Talich. What ties them with the Wyoming Cowboys, again, they're local products. Again, Thompson being the Pine Bluff, at least former Hornet, at least Nathaniel Talich, the former Cheyenne Central Indian. Again, as we talk JUCO, and again, you had that opportunity, I noticed that, again, to attend an LCCC contest, at least during the regular season here in town over at Story Gymnasium. Now, again, there has been tossed out, and I'm pretty sure I've seen it on your Twitter feed, that, again, folks have been tossing out the name of one Xavier McCord, again, Cheyenne East product. Spent 3 years with LCCC. He's had a phenomenal time with the Golden Eagles. His name has been tossed out. I guess my question for you, Cody, is, again, here in Region 9, not even just with LCCC, but we see with Casper College, we see with Western Wyoming, you go down to Colorado with Trinidad State, Northeast Junior College, Western Nebraska. Again, we got a lot of talented programs with a lot of talent among them. Could we see Wyoming, especially in this time of need, look to, again, local products, local teams, especially with this fan base that does respect and love seeing local talent play for the Wyoming Cowboys?
Yeah, I mean, you guys would probably be able to speak on it better than I would, but I can, as far as how Region 9 is and if how it stacks up around the country, I know in talking to my source yesterday within the basketball program, Kobe Newton played at Fullerton, and this guy raved about the California JUCO, and basically Fullerton won a state championship last year because California JUCO is basically its own thing, and apparently it's just really high level, very very much talent filled. And this team has dominated 2 years in a row, and a winning program. And I know he kept mentioning that they just. That's the kind of guys they want to get is out of those winning programs. And I can tell you guys, I talked to Jeff Linder about Xavier McCord, and it's funny. He said, yeah, I mean, we've heard about him. But he said, I told him I was going to a game, and he said, well, tell me how he looks and get back to me. I'm like, I don't know how to scout a basketball player, Coach. Like, I have no idea. But I will tell you, he was impressive. I don't think I saw a bead of sweat on that kid's forehead as he put up 28 points. He had hops. He was active on the offensive glass, and he was just smooth as could be. I don't know what you're looking for. I assume it starts on the defensive end of the floor, and they were playing EWC and won by 50, so didn't really get to see a lot of him on defense. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a win-win if you have the guy. I mean, I automatically think of Dante Richardson, who played at Sheridan, and he was just a really special player and a really great shooter at UW. I guess it would be a win-win. But I can't tell you myself if he has all the intangibles to be a Division I basketball player, because we saw Deng Dutt out of the College of Northern Idaho come in a couple years ago, and he was an All-American, and it just didn't translate. And he played very few minutes, and off he went, and he went to Southern Utah, and I don't know how many minutes he got there. But I guess it just depends the level of basketball and what they see in his intangibles and things like that. But I know it'd be a win-win, and I know a lot of people would be excited to have X here.
You know, the obvious answer is just win, baby, for Jeff Linder. But he's got to win back this state. Again, what happened, and again, going back to our first conversation, you don't wish this on your worst enemy, but, depending on what is on the floor next year for the Wyoming Cowboys, they're not all going to come back. I mean, what does Jeff got to do to win back this state to head to the Dome of Doom?
To me, Larry, he needs to win back the locker room. And right now there's only 3 guys left in that locker room, 4 if you're counting Court Roberson. But I wrote a column a couple weeks ago comparing the situation with Craig Bull after the 2021 season when we saw 15 players leave. And I'm talking, as you guys know, 15 impact players who left. And it just came in a flurry. And then when we interviewed Craig, he doubled down and just, gave you that, well, if you're not going to ride for the brand, we don't want you, blah, blah, blah. And that's where you have to step in and go, I mean, Coach, we're talking about Isaiah Nair. We're talking about a really special talent here who obviously is now at the University of Texas. Did you ask these guys why and if they tried to talk him into staying? Nope. Maybe some of my assistants did. So he went hardcore on that. They all left. And then, I spoke to almost every one of those guys, and they said, we have no relationship with the coach, and he's a jerk. He's mean. They don't have to put up with that anymore. I'm hearing the same things out of Jeff Linder. And to Craig Bull's credit, he absolutely stepped up last year and made a concerted effort to have a relationship with his players. And I interviewed every single football player I interviewed last year. At the end of our interview, I said, did Craig really change? And they said, yeah, man, he sits with us at lunch, and, he talks about my mom's cooking on our recruiting visits, and, he really made that effort. And now you saw 9 guys enter the portal at the end of this season, 5 of which never even saw the football field. So I think he did a really good job there, and I think that's where Linder needs to mend those fences. And then, of course, Linder made a lot upset when he called out the fan base and said, why aren't you guys here? Why aren't you guys here supporting this team? And then obviously we saw what happened with the team this year and what it looked like. And so I think if he wins back that locker room and his team's playing the way they're supposed to play, that's going to win back this fan base, and they're going to show up just like they did the year before last.
It's funny that you mentioned Craig Bull, because that's going to lead me into football. By golly, we're going to have spring game coming up here. I mean, it's moving that quick. So obviously,
or at least hopefully, again, with the winter still around here.
Well, we play sprinter football all the time around here. But here's the deal, Cody. Just like a baseball team, you need a pitcher. Obviously, the quarterback spot is going to be open. Got to get somebody who can hurl the fastballs out to the wideouts. We got to get a guy who can trot up and down the field out of whether they run with a single back or a double back formation, offensive line, deep. I think if anything, as you head into springtime football, defense is going to be way ahead of the offense.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about the Cowboys, Larry, the defense is already way ahead of the offense, and I've been saying it for a few months now. I really, really think this defense is going to be special this year. They're just really good at every spot. They're really deep at every spot, which is, that's the thing with mid-majors, right, is being deep and having having those backups that are ready to go. And the Cowboys were so young last year that they really found that they have a ton of depth. Spring football opens over in Laramie today. We'll talk to Craig Bull tonight at about 6:10. Really excited for that. I mean, it's so funny to think. Last year we went into this thing with 100 million storylines because this was the 3rd youngest team in college football, not to mention the transfer portal nightmare I was just talking about. A lot of new guys, a lot of new faces. This year, all of a sudden this team turned old, and that's a good problem to have in college football. So Andrew Peasley, by all accounts, is still going to be the guy under center. It'll be interesting to talk to Craig Bull today and see if that is an open competition whatsoever. I know they love Andrew Peasley a lot. They really like him. And the one thing I will say for him, because I know, when you look at his full body of work last year, there were some nice moments. There were some really not nice moments. There were some injuries. But really, guys, Craig Bull admits it, and the coaching staff admits it. They really put a choke chain on Andrew Peasley last year because he's had a lot of injuries during his career. And let's face it, he's just not a big human being. They didn't let him run very much last year, as much as he's used to. He's really one of those sandlot kind of guys that, moves around in the pocket and finds a way, and if there's a hole, he'll take it. Last year, they told him, do not take that. Do not take unnecessary hits. Throw the ball away. And you saw Peasley, some of the smartest plays he played last year had last year was throwing the ball into the first row. And so I think by all accounts, he's the guy heading into spring. I just wonder if Craig's going to let anybody push him. Because right now they have 6 guys on the roster, and I don't see them having 6 guys on the roster going into the fall at the quarterback spot. That's just way too many. So I see some transfer portal activity coming up, but who's going to rise up there? And also, does Andrew Peasley take on more of a leadership role this year where he mentors some of these guys like Caden Anderson, who they just got out of South Lake Carroll High School, who backed up Quinn Ewers, who's the starting quarterback at Texas in high school. So there are a few storylines this year, guys, but not a ton. And that's kind of a good thing, I would think, if you're a fan.
Cody, final thought from me. And again, we appreciate you joining us today on the show, giving the insight on Cowboy basketball and talking a little bit Cowboy football. Want to get your thoughts on way too early prediction, as again, we still have a lot of time and a lot of pieces of fall for the Wyoming Cowboys before they get underway here coming up in the 23 season. But we'll look at preseason, Texas Tech, Texas, as well as you mentioned with the Longhorns. Also, too, I'll give a shout out to, again, the Big Sky of, again, with Portland State coming in. Again, a lot of, at least, you got some very tough teams early on in that preseason before you get into the Mountain West Conference. I guess for you, Cody, what I'm asking you of, give us your way too early prediction of, is this Cowboy football team as it stands right now contender for a Mountain West Conference championship? Can they make it back to a bowl game, or is this going to be kind of a rough go of it this season, especially with that heavy non-conference schedule?
Well, I tell you what, guys, talked about this a lot lately. Fresno State, the defending Mountain West champs, they've lost a ton, and I mean a ton at all key positions. There's gonna be some names in the NFL draft here from Fresno State coming up. Air Force lost their top 2 players. Of course, Boise State's Boise State, and Taylor Green's a really special quarterback. Other than that, San Jose State should be okay. San Diego State should be okay. Other than that, though, guys, I mean, it's wide open. And I told somebody the other day, the way I feel about this Cowboys defense and the run game now with Harrison Whaley out of Northern Illinois, who's a really special running back, and I think he could be an upgrade over Titus Wynn. And I think the offensive line could be even better as well. If that happens and the defense is great, I would have no problem saying I would have no problem voting them number 2 in the Mountain West Conference. To me, Boise State's still that standard. You still got to get past them. Wyoming's got to play at Boise this year. But if you can have some semblance of a competent passing game, stop me if you've heard this before, I would have the ultimate confidence in the Wyoming Cowboys this year, because I think the defense is that special. And you talked about that schedule, Nick. Yeah, there's some big names on there, no doubt about it. They're also, playing 6 of their first 7 at home and basically 7 of their first 8 at home if you count Colorado Springs, which a ton of Wyoming fans travel to. So, and then, you end the season with trips to UNLV and Nevada. I think if you're going to end anywhere in this conference, I don't think you mind going to Nevada or UNLV to end the season. So I think the schedule sets up pretty nicely for them. It's just, again, can they have any sort of consistency in the passing game? And we're not talking about, like Craig Bowl likes to yell at me and say, hey, you want me to be Mike Leach? That's not going to happen. That's not what anybody's asking Craig Bowl to do, and we know darn well it ain't going to happen. It's just got to be competent, and it has to be decent. Look how close they were to Boise State last year. They had 3 complete passes all game to their own team and 3 complete passes to Boise State, and they're right there knocking on the door. And so if you can figure that out, and that's a huge if, as we know around here, I think the Cowboys could really surprise some people, and I think they could be one of the better teams in the Mountain West this year.
Final thought for me, Cody, and we're going to wrap it up with NCAA basketball. And, kudos going out to San Diego State. Who would have thunk it? Just about everybody's brackets have been blowing up as we head into the Final Four. But I think the winner out of this, and whether State gets to the finals, right now it's here nor there. They're in the Final Four. But I don't think people realize that the Mountain West Conference really – is the big benefactor, because if I'm not mistaken, if it's still the same as it's been in the past, State's money gets split right down the middle with the Mountain West Conference. So, again, the MWC is going to walk away with some huge dollars thanks to the Aztecs.
Yeah, pretty nice parting gift if they head to the Pac-12. Yeah, the Mountain West they're making a lot of money through this Aztecs run, and like you said, congrats to them. It's funny, people ask if, are you pulling for San Diego State? And when I was just a fan, guys, I was not a Mountain West fan at all. It was, or a WAC fan. It was, if Wyoming's not flying that flag, I don't care about the flag anyway. And I found myself watching the other day and thinking, man, this San Diego State team is really special, and we've seen it. We've seen it over and over again. They are really good, but man, they get it done on the defensive side. They're dominant, and now they can score. I mean, you think about it. The other day, Matt Bradley, their leading scorer, didn't score his first bucket until 3 minutes left in the game, and they're up by 10. I mean, that's just how good this team is, and they've really built this program, and they are one of the nation's elite. And to be honest with you guys, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that it's taken them this long to make it to an Elite Eight at least. I thought that would have happened, and it probably would have happened during that COVID year when they probably would have had a number one seed. But really special, and we'll always accept that cash. I don't think Tom Berman's going to throw that check in the trash for sure.
All right, Cody. Hey, man, it's been a pleasure talking with you. Thank you again, and we'll catch up with you down the road.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Have a good day.
All righty, Cody Tucker, founder of 7220sports.com. We are going to take a break. This is the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti. Nick Proietti joining me as well. We still have a couple more special guests coming up in the program. Lain, Post 6 skipper, and we'll also talk with Coach Ayana McWilliams, head coach of the LCCC Lady Golden Eagles. Again, a special season for the Lady Golden Eagles. We'll get a chance to recap with Coach Mack. We'll have those folks join us. We'll come back. We'll chat about some other issues, and we'll be right back after these words on 1480 K-Ray.
Capital Lumber is number one in Cheyenne. Are you listening? We're all the lumber store you'll ever need. For electrical, plumbing, paint, and tools, lumber and hardware, we're for you. And we're out to earn your business, yes indeed. Capital Lumber is number one today. Are you listening? Capital Lumber's at your service all the way.
Since 1966, Cheyenne and Laramie County has depended on and trusted family-owned and operated Capital Lumber Company for all your lumber and hardware needs at 1222 Dunn Avenue in Cheyenne.
Did you know that up to 80% of strokes are preventable? Knowledge is power. Join us at Cheyenne Regional Medical Center's Stroke Symposium from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on May 6th at the LCCC A&B Bank Leadership Center. The cost to attend is $25, and a portion of the proceeds will be used to promote stroke education in our community. Be sure to secure your spot by May 2nd. Register today at cheyenneregional.org/stroke symposium.
Your locally owned and operated radio stations, KYOI FM and 1480 K-Ray AM, are just that, local, serving Cheyenne and Laramie County, where your advertising dollar stays local too. It doesn't end up in Colorado, Oklahoma, New Hampshire, or even New York. We conduct business here, we shop here, and we live here. And we support our entire community 24/7, 365. Just because it has a window dressing doesn't mean it isn't a facade. A reminder from KYOI and 1480 K-Ray. Winter driving in Wyoming. Are you prepared? Winter storms strike quickly across Wyoming's high plains and the mountains. When they do, driving conditions can deteriorate rapidly and become very challenging. Make sure your vehicle is ready for the elements and you have an emergency preparedness kit available. Driving on slick roads, always remember slower speed, acceleration, steering, and braking. Also turn off the cruise control and always buckle up. Ice and snow. Take it slow. Know before you go. For travel info, call 511 or online at wyoroad.info. Paid for by Federal Highway Safety Funds. MHP is a certified public accounting and consulting firm located in Bow, Cheyenne, and Fort Collins, offering accounting, tax, and consulting services to businesses, not-for-profit, government, and individual clients. MHP takes pride in their commitment to providing close, personal attention to their clients. They also continue to invest time and resources in continuing education, state-of-the-art computer technology, and valuing their relationships with you. MHP is a proud supporter of local and UW athletics. MHP, 314 West 18th Street, or call 634-2151.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Otherwise, for today, mostly sunny. Expect a daytime high near 40. Partly cloudy tonight, or low down to 21 degrees. Partly sunny for tomorrow. We're calling for a daytime high near 41. And for Wednesday night, partly cloudy, or low down to 22. And we welcome you back to the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti, along with Nick Proietti. And Nick, I guess we'll do a statewide note as well, too. First on the local side, and again, a couple of pretty good seasons over at Cheyenne Central. And again, comes from good lineage. His brother Tevis had a great career at Cheyenne East and then went on to the University of Washington. Talking about Keegan Bartlett. He's going to move on to the next level, and deservedly so. And again, the size that Keegan brings to that position, and again, and a good adapter. Again, when you were thrown into a different system that you had at Cheyenne East, moving over to Cheyenne Central, and again, when you built the pieces around him, this kid really excelled at that quarterback spot.
Yeah, so congrats to Keegan Bartlett again, moving on to the next level, a continuous football career at Western Colorado, so again, a part of the RMAC. So congrats to him, as again, he's one of many local athletes, again, in various sports that have moved on to the next level. Again, we've seen plenty, especially from Central, East, and South. So again, good to see that again. Keegan Bartlett, again, as you mentioned, former post Sixer, again, moving on, again, will continue his football career, again, with Western Colorado. So exciting time. So again, just wanted to pass along that note before we
I expect big things out of him. I think he'll be an impact player. Just with the size alone.
Yeah, again, we'll see what happens out there in the RMAC. So, again, will he come out immediately? Again, make that difference? Again, to be determined. Again, we'll see what his career goes, again, with a lot of other local products that are moving on, again, through various levels. Again, whether it's D1 to JUCO to NAIA programs. Again, we're seeing, again, these athletes here in town specifically are getting that look on the next level, again, able to continue their athletic career. So, again, that's good to see.
Now, yesterday we had a discussion about marijuana and how Wyoming, the state of Wyoming, is behind the times a little bit, one of the few states that is not moving forward. However, on the athletics side, Wyoming joins, about 18 other states now?
Becomes the 19th.
Yeah, becomes the 19th state in the nation to say, hey, boys sports, girls sports, transgender sports.
Well, specifically, again, this is regarding athletes and transgender athletes here in the state of Wyoming. Again, it was or at least a bill adopted, which again is not in effect yet. And again, it will go in effect as of right now on July 1st of at least this year. But again, the bill, at least the law, was stated that again it was more on the at least if you were genetic male transitioning into a female as a transgender athlete, you could not compete in female athletics. That was the specific basis. So again, it was just regarding, again, biological males could not compete in female athletics here in the state, at least on high school and youth sports. Again, did not go the opposite way. Again, if you are born female, you could still compete in that male, at least, sport category. So, again, it banned one side of the aisle, not the other. But, again, it's been a hotbed conversation. Again, we knew this was eventually coming here to the state of Wyoming. Again, it's been talked about in the legislature for quite some time. Again, as you mentioned, again, yes, Wyoming becomes the 19th state here to at least adopt this and move forward where, again, I think we talked about this a couple months ago of, again, what the Activities Association, same with, again, athletic directors and these high schools across the state. It's a tough situation where, again, from my aspect, in my opinion, yes, it's something that there is, on the biological sense, an unfair advantage on that, at least kind of on that side. Again, moving from, again, being a biological male and going and competing in female athletics, there is that kind of scientific data. We've seen that, again, you can be stronger, faster than the female athlete. So it is kind of creates that unfair advantage. But again, in my sense, this is where I kind of at least kind of tug and pull, at least on this at least situation where it is also too unfair to those athletes out there that, again, especially here in the state's borders that do get affected by this, that you can't just deny them to play sports altogether. You got to find something. Again, obviously what that answer or that solution is again, above my pay grade, but you can't deny those athletes the opportunity to play sports. You got to find a way to involve them in some way, shape, or form that is fair for them and fair for, again, the athletes that they do oppose against. And, again, obviously for other high schools, again, whether it's from Class 1A all the way up to Class 4A, You know there's going to be coaches out there. You know there's going to be fans, parents that are again have a gripe against, hey, it's an unfair advantage, and this is, again, it's unfair against my
and to
athletes.
me, the solution is simple. And it's ironic, too, because we don't hear about the biological female who transitions over to male, competing in sports. Because, again, like you said, bigger, stronger, faster are the males. Here's my solution to this. And again, love it or hate it, I don't really care. You have boys sports, you have girls sports. Let's talk track and field, okay? Let's just go track and field. What I would say is that transgender athlete should be allowed to practice with teams. I don't have a problem, but unfortunately, there's just not enough of them right now in this state. We'll use Wyoming, but I think what you should do at the end of the year or the end of the season on a track and field note, state boys, state girls, and state transgender. That includes all classes, 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A. I think
obviously that's ideal for track and field, but again, when you get into where, hey, there's it's team A, team B, again, basketball, football, whatever it may be, volleyball, it's something that track and field, you can get away with it of, again, having that kind of third entity to compete. But again, for other, again, kind of the mainstay sports, again, softball,
you're going to have to baby step it. I'm
sorry, without a
Nick.
doubt. But it's something that, again, for the Activities Association, for this state, for these athletic directors across the state, again, not even just in Class 4A, but again, all throughout, got to come together and find a way to, again, compromise or find a solution that's going to be good for all. And again, I say all. That's going to be the reality where, again, it's got to be good for the coaches, for the players, for the parents.
Said,
again, there's obviously, again, with transgender issues as well, too, it's going to be something that's going to stem up, well, I don't want my athlete in the same locker room as them. So, it's something that you got to find a compromise where, again, I get where they're coming from, again, of putting this in effect coming up in July 1st, of, again, not allowing the biological male to compete in female athletics. I understand why. I get the scientific background behind it, but it's something that you can't deny them to play athletics here in the state. You got to find some compromise, whatever that may be.
They can participate. Again, you're going to have to take baby steps in sports that are not the big ticket items. Swimming, track and field, maybe golf, maybe tennis.
Yeah.
Again, football, I don't see it happening. Basketball, I don't see it happening. Now we're into a women's fast pitch. No, I don't see that happening either. The volleyball, don't see that happening in volleyball. Sorry.
So basically, what you're saying, and again, I get where you're coming from, is that it's got to be select sports that, again, can kind of skirt the lines.
Exactly.
And again, all right, I'll allow that. Where, again, it's like, all right, it's better than none. You have some opportunity. It's better than none right now. So it's a tricky situation. We'll see what happens. Again, obviously, the state of Wyoming, Governor Gordon getting backlash on the recent chemical abortion ban that has been put in effect. Again, we were the first state here in the union to at least enact that law. But again, it's caught a lot of flack, or at least now, again, with the at least district judge up in Teton County, again, basically said, hey, it's unconstitutional. So obviously, it's not in effect right now, as, again, it's under legal processing. Who knows what stems from this? Again, this is only a week old as well regarding this new bill. Again, does not go in effect until this year, July 1st. Will there be backlash, or, again, will there be another judge that comes and steps and says, hey, can't do it, Wyoming? So, but, again, Wyoming and Governor Gordon, again, all the brass does have the backing of, again, 18 other states that have already moved forward in passes. So we'll see what stems and what the Activities Association, and again, at least kind of look towards Commissioner, or at least now announced Commissioner, again, Trevor Wilson, the ADs across the state of, again, will we have some voices that kind of step up and say, hey, can't allow this. We got to find, again, kind of what I'm pushing for of, hey, we can't deny them to play athletics here in the state. So, again, who knows what
they can play and they can go out, but they are not going to be eligible. Again, biological male, biological female, male sports, female sports. Transgender does not touch either one of them. Sorry. Because, again, you said earlier, locker rooms.
Which again, are going to be a big topic, or at least a criticism from some players, not all, but players, parents. Yeah,
if this becomes, well, it actually is a reality, but you're going to have to do separate, because again, now you're talking 3 different brands: male, female, transgender.
Yeah. Again, this is obviously a very tricky situation. And again,
I wouldn't want my daughter playing athletics, and whether that transgender male, I would not want that person in that same locker room. My daughter. Sorry, not going to happen.
Well, that's you, and again, some others might disagree with you. Again, you would think that here in the state of Wyoming, that again, it might be an overwhelming majority that kind of at least think on your siding, but again, who knows? Again, without any kind of scientific, at least polling data on it.
I'm not punishing them. I'm saying, again, the major sports, no, you can't compete. It's not going to happen. But let's work a compromise where you can. Okay, swimming. We could have a state tournament for swimming for transgender. For golf,
not really, just due to the fact that again we don't know the specific numbers in this state. And again,
even if it's 20, Nick, I'm throwing out a ballpark number. They should be allowed track and field, swimming, golf. But again, football, basketball, volleyball. No.
Obviously, football is not the issue, just due to the fact that, again, the female transitioning can still compete in male athletics, again, according to the
wrestling.
But
I've got a problem with wrestling.
Well, yeah, wrestling. But, again, obviously there's a lot of tricky situations with this. But, again, where I stem from this is I get it, but it's something that I see as wholly unfair to, again, those teenagers or, again, those youth that, again, have – decided, or again, whether it's their parents deciding, but either way, though, again, those athletes that want to compete and again play sports for their schools have that right to do it. It's just something that, again, these athletic directors and again the Activities Association all need to come together and got to find a happy compromise. And that's going to be the tough thing, is you got to find a happy compromise that's good for all, for players, for parents, for again other opposing teams, for again athletic directors. It's going to be something that, again, in heavier kind of conservative areas in the state, how do you convene to them? How do you make sure that they're going to feel comfortable with this move? So
I think I've come up with a pretty good compromise for now, until the future, whatever the future holds.
Well, that compromise, again, it's good in theory right now, but again, it's not a reality where, again, as it stands right now, or at least, granted, it's okay for now, July 1st, when it turns around, then it becomes an effective ban. So,
it's a ban. So there you go. And
so hopefully Activities Association and these athletic directors are coming together, and again, talking with Governor Gordon and those up in the higher ranks, even talking with Megan Degenfelter, again, if she's able to do something, being the at least the superintendent here in the state of Wyoming. Hopefully there's some way that we come together, convene, and go, all right, let's, instead of just outright banning, let's come up with a compromise in some way, shape, or form that is fair to all.
Well, and again, I think the offering on the plate has to be small.
You got to start small, yeah.
And again, you have to put them all in one class. There's no 1A, 2A, 3, 4A. It's basically, here's our selection of transgender athletes, and then you move them right.
Yeah.
Right. Again, participate, do what you have to do with your schools, but on a competition level, on a weekly basis,
are there numbers to at least kind of fill that third kind of at least entity for, again, swimming, for track and field? Again,
don't know
right now. Again, not sure of the numbers here in the state of Wyoming, if it is a major problem. But again, you got to imagine that there are a select handful, or again, few out there that obviously prompted this to at least become a reality here in the state's borders. So, again, get where you're coming from. Hopefully that is a compromise that, again, we could come to here in the state of Wyoming. And plain and simple, like I said, it's going to give these teenagers, these athletes, again, an opportunity, the same, if not close to equal to everyone else of what they have right now. So hopefully, again, by July time, we'll have some good news, at least for again, at least.
And again, I don't have my head in the sand. I'm fully aware of this. But again, boys sports, girls sports. I'm not turning my back on transgender sports, but you can't compete with boys and you can't compete with girls. These are biological entities. This has been altered. So, again, if you want to be a transgender, fine. But, again, understand you made the choice. And
well, sometimes they didn't, as we're now seeing that parents kind of make that choice
Either way, Nick, the point is, though, you can't be a part of these two entities. You're not biologically fit to be in those categories. However, let's see what can be done. Let's find out how many more are out there. And let's not deny them an opportunity. But again, they have to, it's like, and I hate to say this, it's kind of like Special Olympics. You're going to have your own little, here's the state boys track meet, girls track meet. Hey, transgenders, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say, because that could also, too, gets murky as well, too, when you get into, again, just clumping transgender just all together in one classification where, again, you have males becoming females, females becoming males. So, again, it becomes, well, you can't just have them all together as one because there's still going to be an advantage some way, shape, or form. So,
but again,
it becomes a murky, very murky.
But again, too, for all of those that have gone that route, Nick, you have to class 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A. You got to clump them all together.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough numbers to at least go classification
down. There's not
down.
enough there to start a good fight. So that's the way I would. That's the way I would look at it. Trying to be reasonable.
Yeah, and hopefully, again, whether it is Chad Whitworth or, again, Wendy Johnson or, again, with Jerry Schlapp at Cheyenne East, and, again, even looking down to, again, our 2A schools or, again, 1A on the football side with Pine Bluffs, Burns, again, hopefully with, again, Barry Ward or, again, Will Gray, hopefully you get some of their thoughts on this show or, again, via text or whatever, again, a statement from them to at least kind of get their thoughts on what is the movement or, again, are we seriously looking at trying to adopt something like this instead of the outright ban. Again, we have seen, at least on the national side, again, this obviously made national news, as, again, it does with any other state that does pass this, but the pushback has not been as heavy due to the fact that, again, the state right now is getting warranted with a lot of heavy pushback on the chemical abortion ban, which, again, has taken a lot of the focus away from at least this transgender, at least a bill, which, again, will be in effect as right now, July 1st of this year.
All right, we're going to talk some baseball. We have Post 6 skipper Lain joining us here on 1480 K-Ray. That'll be coming up here as we head into the lunch hour right here on 1480 K-Ray.
Sweetie, want some fruit?
You have to use the right tool for the job. A power drill is the wrong tool to slice fruit. Just like an antibiotic is the wrong tool to treat viruses, including colds and flu. Antibiotics are only needed for certain bacterial infections. When they aren't needed, antibiotics won't help you, and the side effects could still hurt you. Ask your healthcare professional when an antibiotic is the right tool and when it's not. Visit cdc.gov/antibiotic-use.
For almost 60 years, 1480 K-Ray has been Cheyenne's home for good times and great oldies. Add to that live play-by-play sports featuring high school football and basketball, along with LCCC men's and women's basketball. Now combo that with KYOY FM, and you have Cheyenne and the area's only locally owned AM and FM radio stations. But we don't stop there. We also have 2 FM translators which serve the area with programming from both K-Ray and KYOY. And that equals a lot of bang for your advertising dollar. Radio yesterday and now today, along with our websites, web streams, and digital ventures, makes us your one-stop shop. For more information, please call Larry Proietti at 307-637-0301.
It's Lee at Absolute Flooring. Have you been waiting for the right time to put new flooring in your home? Wait no more. Mohawk Spring Floor Adore sale is here. With a huge selection of flooring products, styles, and colors, this sale will make your new floor happen. And what Mohawk doesn't put on sale, Absolute Flooring will. With no interest financing, experienced flooring consultants, and the best in professional installers, it's time to make your way to Absolute Flooring in the Cheyenne Plaza. And visit us at AbsoluteFlooringWYO.com. Remember, it's your home, your floor, your store, absolutely.
The next time you have a craving for authentic Mexican cuisine, visit Hacienda Guadalajara at 317 East Lincoln Way. Locally owned and operated, they serve their dishes with family tried and true recipes, with the freshest of ingredients, made to order. Start off your meal with their complimentary chips, salsa, and bean dip. And if you're feeling adventurous, enjoy your favorite margarita or cerveza. Hacienda Guadalajara, where the spice is always nice.
In the 1960s, Bruce Lee said, "Be water, my friend." The meaning of that advice has been debated ever since. Here at First Tier Bank, we believe he meant that preserving your liquid assets in a high-yield money market account can get you a decent yield on your funds while maintaining your liquidity in choppy financial markets. We've got some of the best money market rates around, and we'd like to invite you to be water and make your liquid assets work for you. Stop by or call First Tier Bank today with 2 locations to serve you at 1508 Stillwater Avenue and 1800 Cary Avenue in downtown Cheyenne, or check us out at firsttierbanks.com. First Tier Banks, member FDIC.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right, for about $50 a month, you'll get lightning-fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. That's 800-245-1537.
Tired of choosing between spending and saving? Platte Valley Bank can help you take care of everything without missing anything. Managing your money can seem overwhelming. PV Budget helps you evaluate your spending, set savings goals, and create a budget that's easy to follow. Look for the PV Budget tool next time you log on to your online or mobile banking account. Take charge of your money and get your financial life on track. Platte Valley Bank, you belong here.
Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Otherwise, for today, mostly sunny. Expect a daytime high near 40. Partly cloudy tonight, or low down to 21 degrees. Partly sunny for tomorrow. We're calling for a daytime high near 41. And for Wednesday night, partly cloudy, or low down to 22.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Right now on 1480 K-Ray, it's time for the Pro Show, featuring the only father and son sports talk show talking about the local sports scene as we take a look back and look ahead to upcoming events around our area. The Pro Show is on now, right here on 1480 K-Ray. And we welcome you back to the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti, along with Nick Proietti. And our special guest, Lain, joins us here, skipper at Post 6. And I saw on social media the other day, and it was a great tribute to you and Pops. Well over 1,000+ wins combined. You know, and I think back, being a baseball nut that I am, you know, guys like Connie Mack, John McGraw, we go way back in time. More recent times, like Sparky Anderson. That is quite the feat between you and Dad. I mean, you look back on it. I know you'll do this when you're older and you step away from the game, but that is quite a family feat that you and Pops. I think didn't Dad have like well over 800 wins,
yeah.
and you're starting to climb that ladder as well too. But
yeah.
it's kind of exciting to see something that was posted like that.
Yeah, it's really cool. It shows just how much time and effort and energy has been spent on baseball in this community.
It shows the kid's will to win too.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, most of it is him. I think he's got me more than doubled still in wins, and just what he did to lay some groundwork to try to help make this program what it is. It was pretty special, and our kids, the kids that have played for us, they take full advantage of it. I mean, I don't want to really take any credit for that. I mean, they work their butts off. They dedicate a lot of time and energy and effort, and you know, they get rewarded by playing at the next level and having opportunities beyond Cheyenne and playing baseball here. But it's a pretty cool thing, you know, in the off season to look at it and kind of see where it stands. And it's been a long time. All I really remember is Post 6 baseball, and being a part of it here, following him around, and now doing it myself. So pretty cool.
Coach, let's look back to last season as well, too, and kind of more so on the postseason side, where, again, another successful regular season, put up a amount of wins, again, a lot of blowouts as well, too. So, again, we were dominant in the regular season. State tournament come up in Sheridan. We had some thrillers that came our way. Eventually found ourselves heading over to Gillette, where, again, we found ourselves the final day taking on, again, a familiar foe out of the state of Idaho, who eventually had a very impressive run in the American Legion World Series. But looking back last season, just to quickly recap, Coach, your takeaways of, again, being just essentially 1 out away from our first ever regional championship.
Yeah, it was just a great season, and I'm really proud of all those kids. We had such a veteran group, a really experienced group, and they've been at that regional multiple times. And I thought, our toughness really carried us at the state tournament, because we didn't play great at the state tournament, but we showed a lot of grit and perseverance and toughness, and that carried into the regional, and I thought we played a lot better when we got there. And, to make it to the last day is a special feat in itself, but to find a way to win a game on that last day, and then, game 2 being into extra innings, I mean, you can't get much closer to the World Series than we were last year. And so, I think that's a confidence boost for our whole program. Follow the plan. We got to be mentally tough, and we got to play the next pitch, and our guys are excited for another opportunity this year.
I was going to say, I think back to that state tournament, and I'm glad you mentioned that too, when we were in Sheridan, and the performance by Coulter McAnally, unbelievable. I mean, that if you take a highlight from last year, that is my highlight of that season. Again, I don't want to dismiss the being 1 out away from going on to the next level, but that performance by Coulter was just truly remarkable. Glad we got that opportunity to call it. But that leads me into my next question. Pitching is always the key. So let's talk about the arms. I know Bradley Fieser will return. Bradley kind of up and down last year. I think he was battling through a little bit of injury. But the thing is, pitching has been the mainstay, especially since you've been in charge of the program.
No doubt. And we had a really deep staff last year, and we've lost almost 70% of our innings from last year. So you're going to see a lot of new faces on this pitching staff. And, we'll have our veterans with Coulter and Bradley at the top of the rotation, and Corey has been fantastic as well. And, he's put on 3 or 4 miles an hour. He's really looked good this spring, and I think he could be dominant this summer.
And he was a freshman last year, right?
Sophomore last year, first year on the varsity, and got a lot of experience. He closed out Idaho Falls for us in the first regional championship game, and man, he's really worked hard in the weight room. His body looks great. He's physical. His velo's up. And then we've got some young arms that I think are really going to surprise some people. We've got a kid, Braden Pearson, who was up to 94 miles an hour on a pull down in our indoor this winter. We've had him up to 90 off the mound this winter. Red-white series, he was 87 to 89. So he's a high-level velo guy. Throws the key for that guy and for a lot of our young guys is, can we control the fastball, throw it where we want it, throw enough strikes there, and be able to mix in a breaking ball pitch to keep guys off balance. And Braden is going to have to learn how to do that. Peyton Seeley's is a mid to upper 80s arm that's coming up for us. So there will be talent. I don't think talent is going to be the issue. It's going to be experience and understanding and learning how to pitch and how to get outs at that level.
We mentioned one name, Coulter McAnally, which, again, we're fresh off of the basketball season with him at Cheyenne East. Again, the injury that plagued him, which, again, we know he's a couple weeks out for getting in kind of competitive sports. But concerns for you, Coach, regarding the arm, and also, too, kind of leads into, again, a thought that I had as, again, we know that, he's got a baseball career ahead of him. Again, he has committed on the next level. Has University of Utah reached out to you, Coach? And we've heard these stories before that, hey, he's injured here. He's going to continue playing sports. Let's take it a little bit easy during this kind of time frame with him. Have you been under at least, I guess, a watchful eye by University of Utah saying, hey, take it easy on this guy. We want him to come play for us.
Yeah, Utah is pretty unique as far as Power 5 schools, where that coaching staff really wants their recruits to compete at a high level. And there's not all Power 5 teams are like that. A lot of people are bringing in their recruits, in early July and having them there for a month and really controlling innings counts. But, with Coulter, you think back to Idaho Falls, the arm that beat us when Coulter pitched, he was going to the University of Utah, and he's pitching there right now. He's one of their best arms that they have there, and he's had a great spring. So that's just kind of how their staff sees it. They want him competing in big, high-leverage games and still developing as a player. So I think that, I haven't heard anything yet from them. I think they're full go on wanting Coulter to get his work in this summer. Obviously, we're going to be very careful with the way that we use him and using the USA Pitch Smart rules. And, he's about 3 weeks right now from being able to throw fully. And then from that point, we have a full preseason routine that we were going to take our guys through, and he's late on that. So it'll still be probably a few more weeks even after that before you see him on the mound. And we're gonna work to keep him healthy and get him back to full strength. And when he's ready to go, that'll be a nice weapon to add on.
You had a bunch of veteran talent mixed in with a lot of young talent, and this kind of leads me, as we talk about Coulter McNally and the unfortunate injury that he got during basketball season. Another kid that we saw a lot of, Mason Tafoya, who, you could put him anywhere in the lineup, you could put him anywhere on the field, and he would do the job for you. I really liked his quickness in basketball. It just seems to me when you have him on the sacks, he's an automatic green light. He really has picked up his speed.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal athlete, and his straight line speed is great, and you saw in the basketball court his athletic ability moving side to side is fantastic as well. He can jump, he can throw, he can run. He's just a all-around phenomenal athlete, and the biggest thing about him that really helps our team in baseball is he is one tough kid, and he brings a lot of toughness and determination to our team, and we're really excited to have him back and healthy and playing well.
Guys that aged out, let's talk about those. And again, I remember last year, Nick, when we were talking about graduated from East or Cheyenne Central, talk about kids that aged out or are actually coming back, maybe got a year of college under their belt. Tell us a little bit.
Yeah, so we had the potential for 4 guys to come back. It looks like we're going to get 2 of them. Caden Anderson will be back to be behind the plate, which will be huge for us to have some veteran leadership back there. And then Julian Romero will come back and be in our outfield. So those 2 pieces will be huge. Bailey Applegarth was fully on board to come back. He got hurt this fall at Scottsdale, and he had full-on Tommy John surgery. So he's about a year from being able to pitch. So probably next spring at Scottsdale will be the next time we see him on the mound. But he's working really hard to get healthy, and we've seen him in our indoor a little bit, and he's doing well. So we've got two guys coming back. Could have had 3, but we definitely are really excited about the guys that will be returning to help lead our team.
Coach, we talk about new faces as a part of the Post-6 team this season, and something new coming here in Double-A in this state is the Hawks are joining. They're moving up from Single-A to Double-A, which, again, a surprise move when we at least learned about that a couple weekends ago. That, again, now you have 2 Cheyenne teams competing in the same division. Again, the Hawks were always that kind of feeder program to Post-6 to kind of come up and play if we had any injuries. But I guess from that aspect, Coach, of what was the decision behind, again, the Hawks joining Post-6 here in the same division? And now how do you approach when, again, you face off against the Hawks, whether it is regular season or, state tournament time?
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. We had Evanston was in the Double-A. They dropped down to Single-A. To Single-A, and Riverton was supposed to jump up to Double-A. When they didn't have enough guys come out for baseball, that opened up a slot, and we wanted that slot. We jumped on it, and it just worked out that our Hawks could be up. And for our program development-wise, to have 36 guys playing at the Double-A level, it's going to be a challenge for sure, but it's going to, in the long run, make us better. It's going to we've never backed down from a challenge. This is something we're excited. When I called our Hawks coach, Brad Barker, said, what do you think? Should we do this? His first word was absolutely, we're doing this. So, we're excited about it. Now, the piece that's interesting is Hawks and Sixers going to have to play each other in some important baseball games this summer. And, it won't be the first time in our program history that something like this has happened. Before Legion had a B level and a C level, we had our prep team and our JV play in the A state championship game against each other. So there is precedence for us playing our own program in some meaningful games, but, it's going to be a challenge. And I listened to Coach Barker talk to some of those guys yesterday, and their plan is to wreck the state tournament, man. Get in there, wreak some havoc, knock some teams out. If you want to slough on the Hawks, then they want to be the team to knock you out and make a little run there. So they're excited about that opportunity and the challenge that comes with that. And, it's going to be fun to compete against them, and we'll both give it our best shot.
Waiting for that again. Championship day up in Jackson.
Well,
Hawks versus Sixers for championship.
And we'd be happy to call that one.
Right.
But, you've had that luxury to go and plunk somebody from the Hawks when you needed an extra body, an arm, whatever the case may be. Do you have to go lower now to the prep team to if you become that one body extra needed on the Sixers, or can you still have that exchange with the Hawks?
So we'll be able to double roster 3, just like we always have with the Hawks. The only difference will be, the week of the state tournament, we're going to have to declare which team they're going with. So we'll have 3 guys that are kind of floating. And depending if our varsity's healthy and we've got the guys we need, then we'll leave some guys with the Hawks or vice versa. But we'll have to declare that prior to the tournament, and then whatever that is set for the remainder of the state tournament. So throughout the course of the season, we'll have that same usual fluctuation that we need. We'll just have to dial it in there late in the year.
We had our softball coaches on, our fast pitch coaches on last week, Coach Barker, along with Coach Quigley and Coach Galicia. And we have seen with the emergence of women's fast pitch in the high school that it has filtered off into the rec programs, and more young ladies want to come out and play. The success of Po6, the Hawks, your prep program, is that getting more younger kids also involved and want to be a Sixer when it's all said and done?
Yeah, definitely. We've got a lot of kids playing baseball, whether it's for Wyco or in the rec or, with the Mustangs, younger teams, whatever is out there. There's a lot of kids that are playing baseball, and I think it's, as healthy as it's ever been. Our program, you know how much we lost last year. We're still in the upper 60s as far as number of kids playing. And, when I took over, we were low 50s to mid 50s. Now we're pretty steadily mid to upper 60s. So just at our level, it's grown a little bit, and that's a byproduct of baseball continuing to get better even at the younger levels.
Coach, you want to look at the upcoming schedule for Post 6. Month of June, as it's been in the years past. Again, the heavy road date with a lot of at least tournaments, most notably the Veterans Classic, which, again, we've been a part of up there in Rapid City. You'll now travel to Idaho Falls for that tournament, down to Pueblo for the Nooch, also to the other major tournament on the road, part of the Gabe Pando Memorial Tournament down in Fort Collins, which, again, has been kind of a mainstay for Post 6. But most notably, again, we're not going to Tulsa. We're not going to Omaha. I guess what was the decision to at least kind of step away from kind of those bigger tournaments that we've kind of seen for Post 6 over the past couple of years?
I'm going to limit money.
Yeah, that plays a part.
Probably
always,
Jackson,
yeah, for sure. So, yeah, we've got the conference road games in Jackson this year, so that adds a pretty long trip to our schedule there. But I feel really good about the tournaments that we're in. They're high level, difficult tournaments for us. But also we wanted to get home a little bit earlier this year, try to freshen up a little bit earlier, see if we could time out our schedule in a way to play our best baseball late in the year. And there'll be a couple more off days in June, and instead of grueling all the way to that last week of June. So there was a couple different factors that play into it. Travel for sure. Going to Idaho Falls, that's a long trip, and it's going to be a high-level trip. And then, being able to have a new group of younger guys, kind of breaking them in and getting them comfortable with the schedule we play.
A lot of miles at least going to be added on to the buses for Post 6, again, whether it's Idaho, again, over to South Dakota, down to Colorado a couple times, and again, state tournament, and again, a couple conference games up there in Jackson, Wyoming. This might, again, hopefully you'll be able to answer on this, Ty. This might be more of a Phil Maggard, at least, question, but, again, we've talked in years past that, again, obviously with inflation, we try to do those bashes to kind of fundraise to help out with costs, again, for whatever it may be, for players, for, again, those vehicles, maintenance, or, again, for hotel costs as well, too. Is that something on the horizon, especially with the times that, again, economics, it's hitting all of us, and, again, obviously for Post 6, probably feeling it a little bit too.
Yeah, definitely. Inflation is playing a role. I mean, the gas is a lot more expensive, and the hotels are a lot more expensive. So, the bash, we're not going to have it again this year, but it is something that's definitely on our minds, something we'd like to try to bring back if we can. We've got to get the right group of people together. It's a pretty big event to try to organize and get planned out. So, we've got that, but we've done a good job. Our kids are going out and getting the sponsorships, and we have our fundraiser with the discount card that we've done a fantastic job in. I think our program was the #1 baseball program in the country last year as far as selling discount cards. They do that all over the country. We sold more than anybody did, so that's a huge shout out to our community when those guys are coming by. People have been very generous in trying to help us out, so big thank you. We'll have that coming again here in early April, and trying to do the things we need to do to put the schedule together here.
All right, I want to cut the state in half. We'll talk Jackson. They're up and comers. Again, the West to me seems still maybe a step behind. So we go east and we look at Gillette. Let's tip our cap to them. To Sheridan, definitely, not going to sell them short. Laramie do have a couple of good arms that I know that are coming back.
Casper's kind of an unknown.
Casper's, you would know more about Casper. But again, as I alluded to, the east side looks, again, who's gonna come through the dust on this one?
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. There's a lot of good teams, and we're sticking with the format where we don't really have an east and west, so it could play out. All the east is top 4, west is bottom 4, but. I think Jackson, first of all, is going to be really good. They return every single guy off their team last year. They finished in the top 3 at the state tournament, and they're hosting the state tournament. So that's going to be a tough place to go in and try to win. A lot of experience there, all seniors, and they've all played at this level for a couple of years now. So they'll be tough. I think that Casper should be pretty tough. They returned some guys off their AA team, but their A team was really, really good, and they had maybe one of the best players in the state playing at the A level in Saxton Smith. I think he hit somewhere between 15 and 20 home runs last summer, and he's a big-time hitter. And so adding him into that lineup, they were the state runner-up at the A level. They went to the A regional last year and got a win there. So they're going to be good and tough. Gillette is always good, and they've got a really young team last year, a lot of them coming back. We know that's always going to be a really good opponent, and like you said, Sheridan, it's going to be interesting. There's going to be a lot of good teams, and I think it's pretty wide open. Like any one of those teams could end up being there on the last day, and they've all got talent and should be fun.
Coach, I want to ask you regarding the schedule as well, too, especially more looking at upcoming here in the month of April, maybe a little bit into May, where we asked this question about softball. Again, we'll ask you the same situation where, again, for your spring kind of at least games, we had to shift it down to northern Colorado because the weather's a little bit better down there. But I guess regarding the early part of the schedule where, again, we do see a couple conference games, non-conference, again, outside opponents as well, too. But, how flexible is this schedule in preparedness for this April for, again, the winter weather to kind of stick around, where, again, last year we had to shift some games, had a little issues, again, whether playing in Laramie or shifting down from Casper. But, again, winter last year was not as tough as it's been here in 23.
No doubt.
is the schedule kind of set to at least move, especially those important conference games later down the road if need be?
Yeah. Especially the conference games, we'll find a place to fit those in if we need to. Yeah, we're just going to do the best we can. Whatever we get is what we get, and if we need to move a game from a Saturday to a Friday night or whatever, I mean, we'll do the best we can to get those games in, and you never know what it's going to end up being, but we're excited. We got a lot of stuff at home early, which will be good for us, and excited to get out to Powers and play some baseball out there.
I look at a baseball team. You got to build it with a pitcher, catcher, shortstop, second base, and a center fielder, and then you kind of wrap the rest around those 5 key positions. But I'm sitting here and I'm looking at your team from last year, and I'm going, well, the left side looks pretty solid with with Mason and when Coulter's healthy and Julian coming back. The right side needs some help. Keldon's gone. Zach is gone. Dominic Lopez is gone. Talk about some of these up-and-comers who, not so much, hey, you're next on the hit list. Tell us about some of these young guys that got to fill these holes immediately.
Yeah, so that's what we've been doing the last 4 or 5 days here. We've been going basically 3 workouts a day for 4 or 5 days. These kids have really grinded hard, and that's what we're doing, trying to figure out who those guys are going to be. But, Cade Coates is a guy that can play infield. He was our shortstop with the Hawks last year. Landon McAnally played second base for the Hawks. That's Coulter's younger brother. In the outfield, let me also say Colin Crecelius, who was our prep team shortstop. He's had a fantastic spring. He's a freshman, and he's right in the mix to maybe work into one of those spots. In the outfield, we're going to have to replace some guys, but we've got some talented outfielders, Braden Pearson, Anthony Pacheco. There's Peyton Seeley, a guy that's going to probably come up and pitch for us for sure. And so we're going to have to try to figure out who those guys are. And we've really grinded, and guys have worked hard, and it'll be kind of interesting to see where the pieces fit there. But, all of our coaching staff tonight is going to meet. We're going to go through some names, go through stats, go through some of the stuff we've done this week, and try to find, 18 guys that can be competitive here.
You had some guys last year. Again, I mentioned like a Zach Kostopoulos, guys that had pop in the bat. And again, one swing, and you guys are winning the ball game. Do we see some of the up-and-comers right now that again, we know Coulter's got that pop. We know Tafoya's got that pop in the back, and Julian is a very good controlled hitter at the plate. But do we have those guys that, hey, one shot, boom, out of here?
Yeah, we do. We've got a couple young guys. I've got one in my head that particularly that I think is going to surprise some people. Big-time power guy. And we've got some outfielders. Braden Pearson, he hit some home runs on the varsity last year, hit 4 or 5 with the Hawks when he went back down to the Hawks. So he's got the ability to do that. A very athletic kid. And we've got some younger ones that I think have the potential to do that as well. And so, it's going to be interesting. I'll probably leave some names off because we haven't announced it to our kids quite yet. But, there's some exciting young players, and interested to see how they handle baseball at this level for sure.
Final thought for me, and again, appreciate you coming in, Coach, as again, it doesn't really feel like baseball's around the corner, but again, as soon as we know it, thankfully, again, Post 6 will be back in action here in town over at Powers Field. Hopefully, again, winter weather stays away here from Cheyenne, but again, that's kind of fingers crossed. But I want to look to July, where we, again, over the years past, have brought in, again, the Firecracker Tournament, and same with also, too, now the Mountain West World Series, where, again, we brought in some very top-tier teams here to Cheyenne to compete against Post 6, and now, obviously, with the Hawks. But, I guess give a plug for those tournaments upcoming for Post 6 and who we might possibly see compete here in Cheyenne.
Yeah, they're going to be really fun again. Very similar. Both tournaments are very similar. Most of those same teams from last year wanting to come back, so that's exciting. Idaho Falls will be here for the Firecracker. We'll have North Platte and Hastings, both really good programs from Nebraska, that'll be here. Obviously, the same programs from Colorado we've been getting. We'll get the Greeley Gojos, the Rocky Mountain Oysters, and those are 2 pretty elite travel-type teams from Colorado. So that'll be great. And, we'll have Rocky Mountain Lobos, some of those teams in our Mountain West World Series tournament. It should be a fun 2 weeks. June 29th to July 2nd, I believe, is the Firecracker, and July 6th to 9 maybe for the Mountain West World Series. So the back-to-back weeks there, we should have a lot of teams in town, and it should be fun baseball.
We should be over our illness by then. We can do double headers. Looking forward to it again. Every time I want to step away from it, I can't. I love baseball so much. So looking forward to being behind the microphone and calling some more Post 6 action here.
Looking forward to having you guys there. We appreciate it.
All right. Ty Lain joined us here, Post 6 skipper on 1480 K-Ray. We will take a timeout. We're going to talk hoops as we will talk with Coach Ayana McWilliams of the LCCC Lady Gold Eagles. That's coming up in a bit.
We are the key to your cleaning success. The Key People that provides affordable office and professional cleaning services for over 40 years with exceptional customer care. All of our contractors have background checks and are licensed and bonded. We guarantee you a safe and secure service that is tailored to your individual and business needs. The Key People do not impose year-long contracts, and all quotes are free, confidential, and personalized. Call Key People at 1-800-468-8283. That's 1-800-468-8283.
When you are dealing with the Coin Shop to buy, sell, or trade your gold, silver, or other precious metals, you will be met with honesty, fairness, knowledge, and exceptional customer service. The Coin Shop has been serving Cheyenne since 1982 and is a respected member of our community. Call David today at 778-7196 to meet privately or visit during regular business hours, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 p.m. The Coin Shop, a dealer you can trust, 510 West 16th Street.
MHP is a certified public accounting and consulting firm located in Bow, Cheyenne, and Fort Collins, offering accounting, tax, and consulting services to businesses, not-for-profit, government, and individual clients. MHP takes pride in their commitment to providing close, personal attention to their clients. They also continue to invest time and resources in continuing education, state-of-the-art computer technology, and valuing their relationships with you. MHP is a proud supporter of local and UW athletics. MHP, 314 West 18th Street, or call 634-2151.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-298-5783. 800-298-5783. 800-298-5783. That's 800-298-5783.
Winter driving in Wyoming. Are you prepared? Winter storms strike quickly across Wyoming's high plains and the mountains. When they do, driving conditions can deteriorate rapidly and become very challenging. Make sure your vehicle is ready for the elements and you have an emergency preparedness kit available. Driving on slick roads, always remember slower speed, acceleration, steering, and braking. Also turn off the cruise control and always buckle up. Ice and snow. Take it slow. Know before you go. For travel info, call 511 or online at wildroad.info. Paid for by Federal Highway Safety Funds.
1480 K-Ray is your home for live play-by-play coverage of high school basketball and football. To hear all the play-by-play calls of East, Central, and South football and basketball. You'll hear the conference action along with the postseason, and during the basketball season, 1480 K-Ray features both boys and girls games. Catch all the exciting calls on AM 1480 K-Ray, also streaming the games worldwide on the web at 1480kray.com.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Otherwise, for today, mostly sunny. Expect a daytime high near 40. Partly cloudy tonight, or low down to 21 degrees. Partly sunny for tomorrow. We're calling for a daytime high near 41. And for Wednesday night, partly cloudy, or low down to 22. We welcome you back to the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti, along with Nick Proietti. We bring on our next special guest. Again, another fine season for the LCCC Lady Golden Eagles. Head coach Ayana McWilliams joins us. Coach, thank you so much for being part of our program. And, got a chance right now to reflect back on the season, take a look back and some of the things that you really like about this team.
Yeah, thanks for having me, first of all. It's always a pleasure to join you guys. I guess just kind of in hindsight, I thought, we had a really good year, obviously. I think the kids kind of overachieved a little bit given the circumstances of not having our own facility or being able to get in the gym when we wanted to. So with all things considered, I felt like it was a really great year. Obviously, it didn't end the way we wanted to, but couldn't be more proud of this group.
Coach, I was going to say, again, as you set standards last season, especially making it to the semifinals of the Region 9, which, again, was the first time in program history. This season, finally hitting that 20-win mark for the first time in program history. Again, got to feel at least a little proud. Again, this is an opportunity for you, Coach, to kind of brag about yourself, and again, your teams as well, too. But, again, setting all these standards, these high-end standards of, again, new goals or new outcomes for LCCC, got to feel pretty proud of what you're accomplishing right now with LCCC.
Most certainly. Definitely came in with a mindset to just, impact the game in several ways. And the biggest thing for me have always just been defense, rebounding. And I feel like we've done those things and we've allowed our defense to kind of create offense for us. We shoot a lot of threes. So some of the areas where we have seen some really high numbers and things like that, again, were all my goals coming in. And it's just kind of good and rewarding for me to just see, that I am and we are making an impact in those areas.
Coach, I don't want to dismiss Central Wyoming, but I know they still had a little bit of difficulty this season. But the Region 9 North, wow, this was a power-packed conference this season.
Yeah, no, we had this conversation at the beginning and during the preseason when we were just kind of talking about the region. And I know it always sounds like the nice thing to say that everybody does a really good job at what they do. But this year's season just kind of proved to you, there was no off days at all this year.
Coach, and in your profession right now, it's almost 24/7, 365. A nice group of sophomores are leaving the program. You don't have that luxury sometimes at the four-year schools where you get them in for 4 years. So it's all back on the trail. Got to get some more specialty players into the LCCC Lady Golden Eagles program. Specifics. What are you looking for as you do the recruiting thing?
Man, you just said a mouthful there. Yeah, I have some really big shoes to fill on the recruiting trail this year. But no different than any other year at this level. I still want to go out and just get kids who can kind of play on both sides of the ball. I like to become a little bit more athletic. Obviously, I like long and tall guards and stuff like that. So we're just replacing a lot of our tweeners. I feel like we're bringing back a solid point guard and a solid post. So now just kind of just filling in between there. So really just hitting it hard, trying to bring in some wing players who can kind of come in and fill the shoes of Jamie DeCoke and a Hallie Hester and a Monique Marcette Valtani, that type of thing.
Coach, I want to go back to the Region 9 tournament, which, again, was in Scottsbluff, Western Nebraska, being able to host, again, as they were the top dog team out of Region 9 South. But, again, we got past the quarterfinals. We found ourselves back in the semifinals, found ourselves, again, finding off a familiar foe, at least an opponent we saw last season in the Region 9 tournament, that being the Casper College Lady Thunderbirds, who were nationally ranked at the time. Coach, this is a team that at least you had them at halftime there at Scottsbluff on the neutral side. Let's recap that semifinal matchup with Casper College, especially having, again, a close battle with them all the way up until that third quarter.
Again, I think we came out with a lot of heat, a lot of fire. We just wasn't able to sustain that type of energy. We knew that they were going to make a run, and they just continued to run once they made that initial run. But I thought the game plan going in was great. But when they're shooting 60-some% from the field, a team like that, they're hard to stop. They're going to be hard to beat. And it wasn't like they were getting wide open shots. A lot of those shots were contested. So, like I said, just hats off to Casper. It wasn't that we just kind of laid down to them. They just played that much better. Coach Gennari and Coach Macy over there do a really good job with that program.
You know, Coach, as we've talked with Coach Salisbury, and again, in our JUCO ranks, we try to move our student athletes to the next level. Obviously, with the success that you've had in your first 2 seasons at LCCC, I'm sure a lot of eyes and 4-year coaches are keeping an eye on our LCCC Lady Golden Eagles. Let's talk about some that may be moving to that next level.
Honestly, 5 out of the 6, 4 out of the 6 at least, will definitely move on and then play at the next level. They're all sorting through various situations at the moment. Nothing solid or solidified at this point, but they will be taking visits here pretty shortly. And you guys will be the first to know once those commitments are made. And then the other 2, they're going to get some looks. I just think it's going to just take a little bit longer into the summer as people navigate the portal and that type of thing.
And then on the opposite side of the coin there, Coach, didn't mean to interrupt, but again, too, with the success that you have brought to LCCC, how many eyes are viewing you right now to want to be a part of this program?
Man, you get emails all the time. You know, everybody wants an opportunity, and unfortunately, I don't have enough opportunities to provide everybody with one. But we'll go out and we'll find the kids with the right fit, kids that want to come here and kind of continue the legacy that these kids have left, and compete and hopefully get us into that championship game next year.
Coach, takeaways from this season that you want to apply for the next year. Again, obviously, we got a lot of time in between then. Again, a lot of pieces to kind of get filled in for LCCC. But what are some takeaways from this season that you want to apply or work on coming up next season with your team to at least get into that championship game, and if not, win it and again make it over to that national tournament for the first time in program history?
The biggest thing is just continue to develop kids and have them believe in themselves. That's one thing that this group had, is a lot of confidence in themselves and a lot of confidence in each other. And I think that's really what took us, as far as it did. But just trying to continue that on. When you lose so many kids and bring so many new faces in, it's just trying to continue that legacy of just believing in each other, develop those relationships within the locker room, and then allow those things to kind of transpire on the court once we hit the floor. But we'll just keep grinding, man. Hard-working team is our motto, and so that's what we'll continue to do.
Coach, you'll spend another season at Story Gym next season, so those freshmen that had that opportunity to play at Story Gym will know all the nuances of that particular facility. Do you feel comfortable putting that team on the floor right now? Again, because half that team had played at the Rack and then had to move over to Story Gym where you almost felt like you were on the road all the time. But, do you feel a little more comfortable knowing that, we'll be here one more season at Story Gym?
My hope is that we'll be back in our own facility in January and not the full season. But in just all honesty and just being super transparent, no, I don't. I don't. It's my biggest concern, honestly.
All righty, Coach. Hey, we want to thank you, and again, congratulations on another good season with the Lady Golden Eagles. Good luck on the recruiting trail, and again, thank you for being a good friend to our program.
Thank you for having me, guys.
All right, Coach Ayana McWilliams, head coach of the Lady Golden Eagles on 1480 K-Ray. Interesting, and before we go to the break, interesting what you mentioned there. Not a big fan of Story Gym.
Well, again, there's
a lot of intangibles.
It's a unique facility without a doubt, and again, it's a lot more spacious than the Rack. Obviously, again, for LCCC, they had a bus over from LCCC to Story Gymnasium, so again, that adds into that nuance. We know the tells of, again, trying to get practice set up for that facility where, again, sometimes Story Gym is occupied for whatever this or that. So obviously, again, for the coaches, again, volleyball, same with the basketball programs, probably happy that, or at least hopeful that January 24 situation does come around. That, again, that's when the proposed opening for the Rack is supposed to happen. So, again, obviously that'd be in time for conference play for LCCC men's and women's basketball coming up next season. So we shall see. Yeah, Story, again, it's an older facility. It's got all those markings on the floor, again, for the high school game, for the JUCO. It causes a lot of confusion without a doubt. So it's something that, again, don't blame Coach Mack for, again, not feeling too comfortable heading back there. It's something that you want to play in your home gym. Again, that's why you're recruiting them. Again, it's not to be shipped off-site to, again, a facility used by the high schools.
Right.
It's more so if you want to play at your home with your locker rooms, your familiar setting. So, again, no surprise there, especially, again, I think the issue outside of the lines is, again, Story Gym is an older facility. It's an older floor.
Yeah, well, and again, too, even though it had the renovation, and the floor used to be like cement when you fell on the thing, it hurt. It's still a hard surface. But also, too, and you made a very good point with all the markings on it, because, again, LCCC volleyball is playing at Story Gym right now. And you also look at, we saw the confusion with the high schoolers, because you had two lines out there. You had the high school line.
Most of the time, the high schoolers
collegiate.
just shot from the college line. So,
but I'm just saying though, and again, there's like, correct me if I'm wrong, 3 lines at center court.
Yeah.
So again, there is some confusion when you're at Story Gym. It is an older facility. It's a good basketball venue. But, yeah, it's aged out, I guess. That would be the easiest thing to say.
It's a venue as well, too, that doesn't really compromise to, again, the fan base for LCCC basketball, where, again, I've attended a few contests where, again, for high school, that thing gets packed up, rightfully so. For East versus Central, again, you can't find a seat in that place. For LCCC, again, we've talked about the fan base out here where, again, LCCC is that kind of college south of town where, again, trying to get fans recruited out there to, again, support these teams is a little bit difficult, and it's been like that even with, again, the success that soccer, basketball, volleyball has been seeing over the past couple seasons. But, again, it's something that you only got one side that is partially full of fans, and, again, probably to, again, teams look, or at least, again, to players looks, again, it's empty, or, again, may play into, again, a little visual play, or who knows.
You can't feed off the crowd as good. Matter of fact,
I guess, plain simply, you can't feed off the crowd because, again, it's such a wide-open facility that noise is, again, kind of getting washed out.
Well, you think back to the old rack, and you think back to 2 sets of stands.
But it was tight. You were close.
You were close to the floor, and then you also had on the floor, too, the special seating for the flight crew. So, again...
Which you still had there for
But I'm saying, though, you had more... you were more in touch with the game. At Story Gym, as opposed to an East Central game, for example, you're not on top of it. You're further away.
Yeah.
And again, lack of fans. There are a few of those fans that would walk to an LCCC game who lived on campus. They're not going to drive to Story Gym. So you lost some of your student fan base throughout the course of the year.
Yeah, so either way, though, again, it's going to be for the foreseeable future right now. Again, the plan is January 24. That, again, it should be finished, the new rack renovations, but, again, can be delayed. We've seen all sorts of projects delayed. Obviously, this is a big one that LCCC wants to get done right and done, at least immediately. Again, don't want to have a airport situation, again, coming back and having to rebuild it. So, again, they're going to take their time with it. Obviously, they don't want to take too much time, but, again, we've heard all sorts of scenarios. Again, will it be done by January, or is this something that's going to be pushed back even further into 2024? Again, only time will tell. But for LCCC, again, for both the men and the women, they adapted to being at Story. Again, both teams had their ups and downs to the regular season, but they still found to be victorious. Both teams found themselves making it to the Region 9 tournament. Both teams found themselves competing in the semifinals. Again, both teams as well, too, losing to Casper, respectively, both on the men and women's side. Women, again, Casper College Lady Thunderbirds did win the at least Region 9 championship, did move on to the national tournament. I do believe the guys did, too, if not did lose. At least they would lose to Trinidad State. So, again, don't remember.
But it was
the outcome on
unfortunate
that.
for LCCC. They were leading Casper College because we were following that game, and then
both men and women were leading at a point in time in those
and
games.
Unfortunately, the Thunderbirds had that streak there against the guys, which Coach Salisbury's team could not overcome.
Yeah, we were hoping to have Coach Salisbury on today for this program, but again, at least from my understanding, what he texted me yesterday, he's currently on a plane as he's heading out to check out the Final Four. So at least lucky him that he's going to have that opportunity to tune in for some good NCAA, at least college basketball. So, but again, for both LCCC men and women, I think plain and simple, obviously they both want Region 9 championships. That still kind of at least skates away from us, but it's something that as you're seeing Region 9, not even just LCCC improving, again, we are seeing Region 9 in general improving the basketball, where, again, some of those down-and-out teams really stepped it up this season, most notably Northwest on both the men and women's side, Western Wyoming on the ladies' side. Again, that was a team that you automatically at least kind of chalked up as a win. Guess what? They made it to the Region 9 championship and lost to Casper. So, again, give credit to the Lady Mustangs of Western Wyoming. They turned it around heavily this season and found themselves, again, just within reaching distance of, again, their at least first Region 9 championship. So, again, it's a competitive league that, again, I think LCCC embraces, but also, too, kind of laments the fact that we got teams hot on our heels that, again, were in the basement that are now starting to vault over us, and, again, most notably with Northwest.
You know, it's interesting, too, and I think back to our conversation with Cody Tucker, who we had in our first hour. And back at the time when I went to college, this would be the mid-'70s, and Cody kind of made a almost spot-on assumption with JUCO back in the day. You went to the JUCOs because you didn't have the grades to go to the four-year school.
Yeah.
Or you got a chance to hone your talents at the JUCO level. You look at JUCO basketball right now, and we saw a lot of it in our time covering LCCC, the Region 9, South and North. And again, you look at the quality of basketball. Now, whether these kids move on to the next level,
the majority of them are.
Yeah, but again,
majority of them are moving over to, again, not, unknown university out in the middle of Kentucky or something like that. No, it's, again, we've seen, especially most notably with Casper, again, they're sending off players to, again, Washington State. They're sending them off to Pac-12 schools.
What I was going to say, though, you look at like a North Platte when we would go there, and you would look at where these kids are coming from. The international group of kids that are coming to the States to play basketball. And again, we're looking at 7-footers. Again, Coach Salisbury, he's had a great recruiting class in his 3 seasons as the head coach over at LCCC. My point being, I look at Sterling, NJC. I look at when we went to McCook. You look at Trinidad State, way at the bottom of Colorado.
Along with Otero and Lamar.
And again, then you look at up here at Region 9 North, Casper's always been a traditional good basketball program. Look how many banners we saw there at the Swede.
Oh, yeah, they got a plenty out there. And again, at least with Gillette coming back as well, too, that adds a powerhouse.
The quality of basketball in Region 9, I'm sorry. I think these guys are D1 ready as they step on the floor their freshman year.
We're seeing that again. Look at, again, where you mentioned, again, 7-footer, again, at least his name not coming to my mind, but again, when LCCC was
Applegren.
David Applegren, again, moving on to Wofford. We see it again with Eric Oliver, again, moving on to South Dakota. That is a D1 program. Zaire Martine with Northern Illinois. We're seeing Alaska Acreage with, again, a couple of players.
Coswell.
Coswell, at least him moving to Tennessee Tech. So, again, we're seeing, especially here on LCCC side, they're moving into that D1 ranking. Are they immediate impact players? Some of them are, some of them aren't. So, again, that's kind of to be determined. But, again, you look at some of the powerhouse programs. Again, I mentioned Casper. Look on the ladies and men's side. They're sending off their players to, again, Power 5 conferences to compete for, again, as I mentioned, Washington State. I do believe of recent, again, at least one player for the Casper Thunderbirds going and competing for, I do believe, Oklahoma. Again, Western Wyoming, again, with Coach Souza, has sent off some of his talent to, again, some of the big
nationally ranked as well, too, amongst the JUCOs. And, again, where Cody mentioned California has their own league in itself with JUCOs. I know. Going to a JUCO in California and seeing the group of talent that was, playing up and down the coast of California.
Texas kind of has a similar situation as well, too.
And
I
I'm
think
sure Florida would be the same way. But the thing is, this Region 9, both North and South, puts out good quality basketball players. And again, goes back to my point with Coach Linder. Don't turn – and I think, he kind of made a poo-poo comment to Cody about, Xavier McCourt. It's like this guy has played 3 full seasons at LCCC, and he gets to move on to that next level as a junior.
Yeah.
And it's like this guy is D1 ready and above. So
yeah, that's a question again for Xavier McCord. Again, has Wyoming reached out to him? If they do, again, will he attend there, or again, will he move on to again join former LCCC products that are currently in the transfer portal? Again, Norland Coswell in the transfer portal. I do believe he's been offered. And again, I can't remember where, but it's something that. Again, that's Xavier McCord's choice right now. Again, will he have a chip on his shoulder from the University of Wyoming saying, well, you didn't want me originally, I don't want to go here now. So, again, that's kind of the big question right now for, again, as we tie together, again, LCCC to the University of Wyoming, especially with the spotlight of one Xavier McCord. Again, he's got the talent, he's got the tools. Without a doubt, he is D1 ready, and the place that makes the most sense for him to go would be the University of Wyoming, where, again, he could immediately be an impact player for that team, especially where, again, they got just torched with the transfer portal. Again, it's his ultimate decision. And, again, who knows if Jeff Linder and company have reached out to him. But, again, on paper, it makes the most sense where, again, it's a local product. It's something that this state would rally behind, again, or at least get them out there to go, oh, it's a Cheyenne kid. It's a guy who played here in this state that has played all of his basketball within this state's borders, again, whether it was at Cheyenne, LCCC, and then potentially the University of Wyoming. I think it has a draw in many ways. It has a many positive level for Coach Linder, again, whether it's the local athlete, the talent, the training that he's gotten with LCCC to at least install him as a Cowboy.
Well, and now I play devil's advocate because Xavier at 6'6", again, he's that tweener between a 3, a 4-3, and a 2.
Again, he's played all of them.
Yeah, he's played at the JUCO level. He's got 3 seasons of seasoning under his belt. So, again, where you're looking at a Coach Linder at UW right now, what hole do you need to fill right away? Do you need that 3? Do you need that 4?
I think you need all of it.
I know, but, again, here's 6'6" staring at you in the face who can board, who can shoot, who can bring the ball down, a little bit of everything for you. He even could play in the middle if you need him.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm sitting here going, look at all the attributes that Xavier McCord brings to the table. UW, you kind of have your back towards him right now going, well, I don't know. He can play every position, but I want
right now over
a certain spot.
Over the past couple of days, and again, something to keep an eye out for, again, this offseason to see where they land. Again, there's 3 big products, especially here from the Cap City, that right now, again, at least are waiting their future within their collegiate basketball, at least careers right now. Again, one is Xavier McCord with LCCC. Again, where does he land, again, on that next level? As, again, he's done. His time at LCCC is over. So, again, only he can go up from there. Nathaniel Talmadge, again, recently entering the transfer portal out of University of Wyoming. Again, did not play a single minute for the Wyoming Cowboys, but, again, the former Cheyenne Central product, see where he lands. If, again, does he go back down to a JUCO? Does he go to an NAIA program, or, again, another D1 to be determined? And also to a former Cheyenne Central product that also played with Nathaniel Talmadge, Lawson Lovering, entered the transfer portal out of Colorado. I do believe he is committed, or at least he's had offers. Again, I remember correctly seeing something on the social media, but, again, I'm not sure if he committed to somewhere else outside of Colorado. But, again, he's another local product that also too entered in. Again, his basketball career right now on the collegiate side is kind of up in the air.
And he's what,
where
7
will he
foot, 7'1", something like that. Yeah, boy, that's kind
Lawson
of hard.
Lovering, who had a couple of minutes, again, solid minutes for the Colorado Buffaloes, but, again, now
kind of hard to walk away from that product as well too. And again, he's I think he's got 3 left, 3 seasons left,
2 or 3 somewhere there.
Yeah. Well, and again, you can still redshirt him a year as well too. All right, well, we got to wrap up our program for today. We'll be back at it again tomorrow at 11 o'clock as we'll have a chance more to talk national and regional sports. Gosh, baseball season is this weekend, right?
What do you mean?
It opens up. Opening day, isn't it this weekend?
Yeah, that's right. Because, again, I was looking at a few opportunities out there in Los Angeles, as much as I don't want to see the Dodgers, but, going to go to Dodger Stadium. But, opening day, this weekend throughout the entire land. Again, Giants, I think they are on the road, and I think they have at least NL East team, if I remember correctly. I can't remember. Again, Dodgers, I think, take on the D-backs. Yeah, Dodgers, D-backs. Rockies, who knows? I would assume they're probably Padres or somewhere south to get away from Colorado as they normally do for, again, the first couple of weeks in April. So, again, opening day right around the corner for, again, MLB.
Anyway, we'll talk more about all of that good stuff coming up tomorrow. Want to thank our guest again, Cody Tucker, founder of 7220sports.com. Lain, skipper of Post 6 Baseball, and most recently, Ayana McWilliams, head coach of the LCCC Lady Golden Eagles. So this program will re-air today at 4 o'clock, so do join us for that. So for Nick Proietti, I'm Larry Proietti. We wish you a very happy and healthy Tuesday afternoon. Take care. Bye-bye.
For 17 years.